Okay, we're ready? We're ready. Well, first of all, thanks everyone for coming. This is well attended. This is obviously a very important piece of the integration, as I can see from all of you here. I just want to introduce Maureen Giggy. She heads up compensation and benefits for North America, known as NAM. And she's been a great ally of mine as we've gone through the integration. We are not going to, so there was compensation and benefits. We are not going to talk about compensation. This is all about benefits. We can talk about compensation another time. Also on the line is Colin Murphy. He supports NAM as well, and he's been very helpful in doing a side-by-side analysis of our benefits, what we have at EXA, and what's at the SNO. And what I'm pleased to tell you that they have better benefits, but we have very similar carriers. So Blue Cross Blue Shield, we have that. Obviously, you know that, and they have it as well. So Maureen will cover that in the presentation. Also, she'll talk a little bit about what's going to happen over the next couple of months, not just in benefits, but some other things like employment agreements and what we can expect going forward. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Maureen. So thank you for being here. This is a really important topic for us.
Great. Thank you, David. So for those of you who aren't in the room, Colin's managing the webinar, so feel free to ask questions as we go along. Colin will answer them as we go. And if there's any common themes that we're seeing, he'll share those questions with all of us in the room as well when we take a break. We do have a lot of content, so I'm probably going to talk for kind of quite a while as we go through it. If we find a place that it makes sense to take a break and take some questions, we will. But I think it's probably going to be best to sort of get through it, and then we'll take questions both on the line and in the room. We did extend it, so like I said, maybe close to an hour, 15 minutes or so of the formal presentation, and then I'm here, you know, we can go well into half an hour, 40 minutes, whatever you need to have questions. At the same time, if you got a meeting at 1, no problem, you know, exit out, we'll take a break at 1 before we start the Q&A section. So again, thank you very much. It's great to be here. I'm based in Waltham, so for some of you, we'll be colleagues soon enough. Colin's based in our Charlotte office. And as you know, corporate simplification is just a few months away at this point, and that means all of the EXA entities globally will be merging into their Simolia entities. And with that comes changes. Fair enough, it's inevitable. And the degree or the impact of the change for each of you will be personal and independent, right, based on your own case. Really, our mission here today is to talk about benefits and the changes that are coming there and ensure you're as prepared as you can be with the information we'll present today and making sure you know where other resources are available for questions after this. Because benefits is really important, right? We want to make sure that you're enrolled in the plans that you want to be in, that you've got the right coverage for you and your families, and you can make the right decisions as we go through this. Okay, so jumping in, we're going to go through the eligibility for benefits, how you'll enroll, all the resources available, and then we'll drill down into each of the major categories of benefits that's provided at DS: healthcare, income protection, paid time off, retirement. And then we offer a fair number of voluntary benefits. Some of them you pay for, some of them the company pays for. So we'll walk you through those as well. We have a set of guiding principles at DS. It really helps us think about how do we manage our benefits program long term. And it falls into 4 basic pillars. So we want to ensure we provide competitive benefits valued by our employees and sustainable longer term for the company. From a competitive standpoint, we regularly benchmark. We want to ensure we're aligned with our high-tech company peers. And based on that analysis, we may make changes from year to year. That keeps us competitive because we know benefits are an important part of attracting and retaining key talent. Valued by employees, we offer a variety of plans. We want to ensure that we're aligned with the best providers in the industry and that you have choice. All of our programs have both in and out of network coverage. Of course, in-network is more cost-effective for you and for the company, but sometimes you may need out-of-network coverage, so we want to make sure you have that throughout medical, dental, and vision coverage. But you'll continue to get care at discounted rates, whether it's in or out of network. Sustainable. This is most companies' challenges. At DS, we have a really good story to tell here. Healthcare goes up quite a bit every year. It's in the news all the time, especially this time of year as companies are getting ready for open enrollment. And we've had a really good story at DS in terms of our employees partnering with us to manage the cost of healthcare. And as a result, our rates tend to go up at a lot lower rate and sometimes not at all compared to our peer companies and what's happening in general industry. And we work hard to partner with you and help to manage those costs so that we have this good story to tell in the short and longer term. It really comes through this strong commitment to a culture of health. We know that if everybody can stay healthy, we can manage the costs longer term. So we ensure all of our programs have preventative care free at no cost. Fair enough, some of that comes from the Affordable Care Act legislation where companies required in their plans to have it at no cost. But we find other places in our program to have no copays for vision exams or whatever so that you can stay on top of that and stay healthy. We also have a wellness program, which I'll talk to you about. We're going into our 4th year, and I've got some nice stories to share about how our employees have been benefiting from that. But we really are strongly supportive of making sure you get your preventative care and staying healthy. So some nuts and bolts. Who's eligible? As long as you work 20 hours a week as a regular employee, you're eligible. We cover spouses, domestic partners. If you're covering a domestic partner, there is an affidavit that our benefits center will share with you that would need to be filled out. If you want a preview copy of it, you can go onto rewards@3ds.com in our search bar, search domestic partner, and the affidavit will come right up. So that's what you'll be filling out. We cover dependent children, again, based on the Affordable Care Act, up to age 26 to the end of the month in which they turn 26. No age restrictions for unmarried disabled children. So that's kind of your pretty routine basic stuff here. So your benefits will take effect on January 1st. So everything you have today stays in effect right through December 31st. And what you'll be electing in the coming weeks will be effective January 1st through the end of the year. You may change benefits. Again, this is probably pretty common, but the concept of a qualifying event, a marriage, divorce, childbirth, these are events that allow you to make changes. Those may happen throughout the year. In a lot of cases, they don't. So it really makes you want to invest time now to understand your options and make elections that will be what's appropriate for you for all of 2019. And this is what will happen going forward. This time of year is when we start sharing with employees what the rates are, any plan changes, and then we open up the open enrollment tool because that then becomes your once-a-year opportunity. We have open enrollment for about a 2-week period, and then those will be your benefits for the following year starting January 1st. As David said, really good news. Special Systems US, we use Blue Cross Blue Shield of Mass. You do as well. We offer 3 plans, so there'll be an additional choice from what you have today. So let's talk first about how the plans are similar. All the services are at the same negotiated rate with Blue Cross, so you don't have to worry about that. All 3 plans cover the exact same services. It's a national network of providers, so it says Blue Cross of Mass. That's really just about where we're headquartered and the Blue Cross partner that processes our claims. It's the same national network. If you have children who are away at school, no issues. So don't worry about the fact that it's Blue Cross of Massachusetts. Just think of that as who administers the plan. All the plans cover routine preventative care. All the plans have telehealth, which is a great growing benefit. We'll talk a little bit more about that through a Well Connection app. And all 3 plans offer gym memberships and weight loss benefits. That's $150 per year per household. I'll spend just a second on that because at DS a few years ago, we got some feedback from our employees that the standard Blue Cross benefit is primarily gym membership. And some people say, I don't really want to commit to a gym. I don't want to get stuck paying a monthly fee and all of a sudden I'm on vacation for a month and I'm not using it, what have you. So we've worked and we have a custom plan. So we not only cover gym memberships, but classes. So your yoga, Zumba, Pilates, cross training, that kind of thing. We really want to make, again, in our spirit of wellness and keeping folks healthy, we wanted to make that benefit more accessible. So that's something that you can take advantage of going forward. And then the weight loss benefit, this is all Blue Cross plans, is expanding for 2019. It's historically been just a physician-based program or Weight Watchers program. And I think Blue Cross sort of figured out or got some feedback that Weight Watchers was sort of having a corner on the market. And there's, of course, a lot more options. So that definition is expanding as well, as long as you're getting, the definition is in our guide, but as long as there's this nutritional counseling element to the program, they'll now be covering more than just Weight Watchers. So that's a change for perhaps you and all of our DS employees as well. So really where the 3 plans are different is thinking about how you access care when you pay for that care. Some of our plans have higher per paycheck and less costs when you seek services, and then we have the opposite. You might pay less out of paycheck, but you may have more copays or deductibles when you or your family members have services. The other aspect of it is depending on which plan you enroll in, you may have access to different tax advantage savings accounts. You're probably more familiar with FSA's flexible spending accounts. If you enroll in our copay or co-insurance plan, that's available to you. But I'm going to also spend some time talking to you about this third option, which is called a high deductible plan, HCHP, CVHP. These are all lingo that you may have heard before. We have that plan, and it's designed in such a way that it qualifies under the IRS to offer you a different kind of tax advantage savings account. We'll talk about that too. So, I always say to employees, it's not like, say, for instance, you or a family member have allergies, or you use chiropractors or something like that, and you say, which plan has the most chiropractic visits? You need to spend no time on that. All three plans are going to cover the exact same services, same number of visits. It's really about thinking around the cost of healthcare. So these are the costs. Our copay plan, as you can see, is our most expensive plan, and we'll describe why. Again, this is you pay more paychecks, but less if you have services. As you can see, it's 2.5 to 3 times the cost of the other two plans, which are priced exactly the same. I think roughly the copay plan is probably similar to what you're paying today, perhaps. So the coinsurance and the health investment plans could bring significant savings for you out of from a paycheck perspective. Again, you have to look at both paycheck and out of pocket. We do offer a fourth tier, just a third tier, I guess I should say. I think employee plus children may be a new option for you. So again, I think some of you may have options for healthcare coverage through partners or spouses. You can always assess, and you may enroll yourself for medical, and maybe your spouse is covering the children on another plan, or just covering him or herself. So you have the flexibility to work within all 4 tiers of coverage, not only for medical care, but dental and vision. You may select one tier of coverage for medical, a different one for dental, different one for vision. So there's flexibility there. And these are, again, based on 26 pay periods, which is staying the same for all of you. Okay. So in terms of the 3 plans, this is sort of a fairly high-level chart, but it really hits on the key parts of the healthcare, medical plans. So we'll walk you through this. I do want to mention to you that this is a big decision. This is probably the biggest decision you'll be making in the next coming weeks. So while we'll spend a fair amount of time on it here, we'll have a dedicated 1-hour webinar where we'll just focus on the 3 medical plans. We'll give you real examples of how it works. So you can take advantage of that as well. Plus, there's a lot of information to read about our plans on our rewards@3df.com website. So hitting the main points, I'm going to start in the middle. That's the co-insurance plan. And I should also say they're all PPO, the preferred provider organization plans, which means they all have the in-network. You use a doctor within the network, you're going to get in-network coverage. And then, of course, they all have the out-of-network coverage as well. So the co-insurance plan, I'd say, is probably most similar to what you perhaps are used to. It has a deductible. I believe it's lower than you have today. It's $250 per person to a max of $750 per family. All of our plans have an out-of-pocket maximum. I think these are as well lower. So the most you would pay out of pocket if you were to enroll in the co-insurance plan for yourself is $1,600 or $4,800 for your family. It works on a traditional copay for visits. So your normal routine care, you see your primary care physician, that would be $25. If you see a specialist, a cardiologist or something like that, that would be a $35 copay. Copays for emergency rooms. The other kinds of services, so your labs, your x-rays, MRIs, that kind of thing, would be subject to a deductible. So if you're having your mammogram or maybe a colonoscopy, the kind of routine things, there's not going to be any cost of that. But say you need some kind of a scan or an x-ray to diagnose something, you would first pay your deductible, the $250, and then after that, you would only pay 10% of the cost of any services you have for the remainder of the year after you hit your individual deductible. That one probably feels sort of familiar to you, a little similar to what you probably have today. Then I'll move to the copay plan. Again, this is the one that's quite a bit more out of paycheck. The difference is, as you can see, there's no deductible, there's no co-insurance. You really just pay copays. We're really clever to name it the copay plan. Because again, if you have that doctor's visit, $25 or $35 if it's a specialist, emergency room copays, a copay for MRI or CAT scans. But that's it. So you really don't see a lot of, when those EOBs, the explanation of benefits, come in. Most cases, it's going to say you pay zero, patient responsibility zero, because you've paid your copay up front for whatever the service is, and then the plan is going to cover everything else. Whereas on the co-insurance plan, when that EOB comes in, it's going to talk about, okay, well, has this person met their deductible yet? Okay, because they may still pay the full cost of that care because they're not at the deductible. But once you hit that deductible for whatever that service would be, then you would be charged the 10% of the cost of the services until if at some point in that year you hit your out-of-pocket maximum. Okay, that's so we'll compare and contrast on those two. Then the yes.
Probably no question. On the copay plan, you have this out-of-pocket max of,
Mm-hmm.
So if you're on this copay plan, is it possible ever to get there? Like, how do you get to out-of-pocket costs?
Yeah.
Small copay.
Sure. You can. I would say it might be a little harder, and it's going to be based on your individual circumstances, how many family members you have. And don't forget, this out-of-pocket is not just doctor's visits and x-rays. It would be your prescriptions, too. So I will say, when I hear from our employees, the folks that go in the copay plan maybe take a peace of mind. Maybe they have family members who are dealing with more chronic issues, lots of doctor's visits, lots of medications, tests, et cetera. And they tend to tell us it's maybe not as much a financial decision when they go on the copay plan because they're paying a lot more for it. It's a little bit peace of mind. Right? They're not worried about all this paperwork and what do I owe and is there another bill coming in? Again, and I don't at all want to bias you. There's no right or best plan here. There's the plan that makes sense for you and your families, and we've got tools to help you figure that out. But you can hit that out-of-pocket max, but it's going to be all these copays, visits, prescriptions.
Is there anything that's not covered that would end up being out of pocket?
Yeah, I mean, emergency room, again, if you're on the co-insurance or the copay plan, you're just going to pay a $100 copay.
Okay.
That's I should clarify, that's the emergency room visit cost, right? The copay for it, but then there could be services above that, right? You'll get billed for the full cost of the emergency room. So let's take a case like that. So I'm on the co-insurance plan, I go into the emergency room. I'm going to pay $100 just because I'm there and a doctor's seeing me. I'm probably, if I've had no services all year, say this happens on January 1st, January 2nd, I'm pretty much going to hit that $250 deductible, right? No question, because emergency room visits are really expensive. Then I'm going to start to get billed 10% for all those emergency room bills that come in. So if I have an x-ray for $250, I'm going to get charged $25 because I'm going to pay 10% of that. But it's probably pretty assured with an emergency room, I might hit that $1,600 maximum, and then I'm done. So say my rough numbers, that emergency room stay is $16,000 and I'm paying 10% of it. Again, I'm using rough numbers. I'm going to hit my out-of-pocket max. All the other bills that come in from that emergency room stay, I don't see because I've hit my personal out-of-pocket maximum for the year.
So you're really messed up in a car accident, go to the ER. You have x-rays, gas, all that. You're going to end up paying for that. The copay doesn't cover everything that the emergency room visit would address.
Right. So some of the design of this copay is also, it's to make us think a little bit. Okay, I'm going to go to that emergency room. I'm going to pay $100 regardless of what this is about. So maybe it makes sense to go to an urgent care center. Maybe it makes sense to do telehealth just to sort of see what's going on, see if I really need to go to the emergency room for this. So that's your copay just for, because an emergency room visit is going to be expensive, a lot more expensive than, say, an urgent care. Yeah, one more question. A negotiated rate. Yep. Yep. Sorry. So the question is that 10% that I'm paying after the deductible, is that off of sort of the gross cost that providers or hospital charges, or is it as a percent of the negotiated rates? And it is a percent of the negotiated rate for when you're in network. Yeah. Yeah, we'll get to prescriptions. The question is, what about prescriptions? I have a slide on that next.
Is there a copay for urgent care?
Yes. Yep. Oh, Colin, copay for urgent care, you caught me. Oh, how many minutes did I get before I had to call a lifeline?
$35 for urgent care.
25?
No,
35.
35. And that is for the copay and the co-insurance plans.
Yeah, so it's treated, urgent care is treated as a specialist visit. Yeah. Okay, let me just spend a couple minutes on the health investment plan because that's the newer one, and one you'll probably want to take more time if based on what I tell you today you think, oh, I'm a little more interested in that. So again, it's called a high deductible plan because the IRS sets the amount, the minimum amount a company can set the deductible at. So at DS, our strategy has been to set it at the lowest, highest deductible that the IRS will allow. So the deductible may go up a little bit each year because we have to keep it aligned with what the IRS says. But as you can see, this deductible is oftentimes lower than some standard medical plans. So it's a low, high deductible plan. It has the same features in terms of out-of-pocket. It works similar to the co-insurance plan in that there's a copay. But instead of having to meet, if I'm single coverage, instead of having to meet just $250 deductible, I'm now going to have a deductible of $1,350. And then that same 10% co-insurance is going to kick in. And there's, in this case, there's no copays. There's copays for prescriptions. We'll talk about that next. But there isn't a $25 or $35 visit for the doctor. I will pay the, other than preventative care, which is free, my once-a-year exam. If I walk in because I have an earache and I think it might be infected, I'm going to get a bill for that doctor's visit, $75, $150, whatever the doctor charges, using the negotiated rate. I pay that bill completely upfront until I hit my deductible. Then the next time I go into that doctor's visit and they charge me $100, I only pay $10 because now I'm into my 10% co-insurance because I've hit my deductible. Now you're all probably saying, okay, wait a minute, if I go to the chart before and out of paycheck, the health investment plan and the co-insurance plan are the same out of paycheck, why would I do this plan that has this higher deductible? And it's got to do with the health savings account. So DS makes a contribution to that. It works like a flexible spending account in that you can put money in on a pre-tax basis. The difference is DS also can put money in. So we put in $750 if you enroll in individual coverage or $1,500 if you enroll in family coverage. And in this case, family, it can be two-member. Anything that's more than one person is going to be considered family under here. And we put that money in upfront at the beginning of the year. I think that's another thing that differentiates us from other companies. Some companies don't put anything into the HSA, or if they do, they may put it in over pay periods and you earn it over the course of the year. Our strategy is, if this plan makes sense to you, we want to make it accessible. So we put the money in upfront. So at the beginning of the year, if you suddenly have that, doctor's visit for the potential ear infection, you might get that bill for $150, but you now have $750 or $1,500 of DS kind of seed money up front to pay some of those early expenses. But the idea of this health investment plan, think about how we named it. It's not designed to be, well, I'll get in it this year and get the $750, and next year I'll go in another plan because I think my situation is going to change. I do think employees tend to think about it as a longer term choice because they see the value of putting money into this health savings account and having it grow on a tax-free basis. And I have another slide that shows you a little bit more about that. Because the attractiveness about an HSA as compared to an FSA, FSA has that use it or lose it, right? You have to think carefully about how much you're going to put in because if you don't use it all, it goes away. An HSA is your money forever. When DS's money goes in, your money goes in, it grows, you never lose it, you leave DS, you take it with you. It's a little bit like a 401k plan. It stays with you as you go to different companies and you can roll it over. Yes, question in the back.
Sometimes,
Yes. Yeah, I think so. The question is about whether it's DS's traditional FSA or this HSA account, does it come with a debit card that you can pay the expenses from your account? And the answer is yes. It comes with a debit card, so it makes it nice and easy. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. So the question is, how would an MRI work, for instance? So again, the copay plan, you'll pay $30 for that MRI and you won't see another bill. On the co-insurance plan, if you've already met your deductible, you've had other expenses during the year and you've paid $250, your bill will be 10% of the cost of that MRI. Maybe the MRI is $3,000, so you'd pay $300. It'll depend on where you are in your deductible, but again, you're always going to have your out-of-pocket maximum. of $1,600 per person or $4,800 combined for your family. And then on the health investment plan, it's going to work the same way. You'll see where are you in your deductible. Again, if it's individual coverage, have I already spent $750 for medical care this year? That MRI is just going to cost 10%, or I'm going to pay. So in my $3,000 MRI example, if I've had no care yet, I just had one MRI, I will right away hit the $1,350 because I'll have to pay up to the deductible cost of that MRI. Exactly. So both plans, whether it's co-insurance or health investment, you first meet your deductible, then you start paying 10% of all your services until you hit your out-of-pocket max. So I think the nice thing on all three of our plans is you can figure out your maximum out-of-pocket, because you can figure out what am I paying out of my paycheck every 2 weeks, and what is my out-of-pocket max based on which plan I enroll in, whether I enroll in individual or family coverage. You always know your maximum risk.
And the $90 goes inside your savings account, or you have to put some other money?
Yeah. Okay. So, yep. So if you're saying, okay, I'm on the health investment plan, DS has contributed this money up front, and I start to have some expenses, and no, not going in.
The monthly payment which you're doing?
Yes.
Or the paycheck? Okay.
Oh, yes.
So that goes into the...
Okay. No. So the question is, does what comes out of my paycheck, if I'm on the health investment plan, does that go into my HSA? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. That's your cost, your contribution to the total cost of healthcare. Good question. Yeah.
Health investment plan.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Yes. Yes, I think the question is, do you think of the co-insurance plan and the health investment plan really as sort of the same thing? It just has a higher deductible? That would be, that's pretty accurate.
The health insurance, health investment plan.
To some degree, yes. Yep, you could say the health savings account contribution is a little over half the deductible. Yeah, so there's some funding to help you meet the deductible. Yeah. There is, and that's set by the IRS, and we'll get to that. Yeah, so the question is there a maximum that you can put into an HSA? Yeah. One more question? Yeah.
And all of these have no coverage limits?
Correct. Yeah. No coverage limits. That's no lifetime maximums. Is that the question, more or less? Like in other words, if you hit $1 million of healthcare costs, does the plan stop paying altogether? The answer would be no. I think that's also part of the Affordable Care Act. They removed maximums. Okay. All right, I'm going to keep going. Okay, so someone asked about prescription drugs. So once you enroll in one of our medical plans, you automatically get prescription coverage through Express Scripts. It's a different card, so just be careful about that. You're going to get one card for Blue Cross. You're going to get a second card for Express Scripts. And that's just the way DS has entered into their arrangement with Express Scripts. So we have traditional copays. There's 3 tiers of medications: your generic, preferred, non-preferred. Whether you're on the co-insurance or the copay plan, the copays are exactly the same, so $10 or $25 or $50. Where the health investment plan works differently is because generally, again, this is how the federal government and the IRS designs these high deductible plans, is you can't offer a copay structure, but they give you an exception. So plan that most of the medications you'll get if you're on the health investment plan, you'll pay, again, the full cost of the medication until you hit your deductible, and then you'll pay 10%. The one exception that's allowed under the law, which we built into our plan, is preventative medications, so things that you take to prevent things like cholesterol drugs, things to prevent heart disease, high blood pressure pills, that kind of thing. We are allowed to do that in a traditional copay structure, and we built that into our design because we think that's good. Take your medications on a regular basis. You know, we don't want you to have some kind of strange incentive to not take medication that's going to keep you healthy. So that's a very thoughtful design that we did. You see a lot about no generic available. So we, like most companies, really struggle with the cost of prescription drugs. They're just outpacing the normal healthcare inflation. So we partner with Express Scripts to put some controls in place that we ask you to partner with us to help manage the cost of medications. So our plan is designed that if there is a generic available, we ask you to have a generic. So as you're getting prescriptions from your physicians, ask, is this a generic? It's not. Is there a generic available? Because my plan covers generics. If there's no generic available, then yes, you will use the normal copay structure. But if there is a brand name and you or your doctor opt to prescribe and take that one, you will pay the difference between the cost of the generic and the cost of the brand name. We know, I mean, for the FDA, right, it's not going to be a generic unless they really believe it's equally effective. But we know that there can be some cases where generics have been tried, it doesn't work. So there's always a process for you and your physician to engage with Express Scripts and to get appeals on certain things. But generally, generics are available and make sense. And I always tell the case of an employee had an example of an ear infection, and literally they were on the health investment plan, and they found out that this medication was $600. Now, if they'd been on the copay or the coinsurance plan, they wouldn't have known, right? They just would have paid their brand name $25 copay and moved on. But because they were on the health investment plan, they said, what? The pharmacist said, yeah, I didn't think you would want to pay this. Would you like me to call the doctor and get a different medication? And they were able to get an equal, just an ear infection. This is big stuff here. They were able to work with the doctor to prescribe a generic. So now that person wasn't paying the $10 for that, by the way, because again, it's not a preventative medication. It was to treat an ear infection. But now the drug costs, I forget, it was like $16, and they paid $16 for the medication instead of $600 because they hadn't met their deductible yet. So it's a way to get more, engagement and awareness to really the cost of drugs. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about this. We have the generic drug program, as is very common. There's step therapy programs and prior authorization. These are all things that your physicians are used to working with other big pharmacy drug providers. We do have one other thing that we want to bring to your attention. And again, we really encourage mail order. So you're able to receive 2 refills at a local pharmacy if you wish. But after that, we ask you to actively elect to either continue to go to the pharmacy every 30 days and refill your prescriptions, or to do the mail order. The mail order is great. You can get a 90-day supply for the cost of 2 copays. It's shipped free. There's no shipping costs. You can set it on auto delivery. So just really easy. So we're trying to encourage and ask you to be open to using mail order for your routine prescriptions. Obviously, it doesn't work with an ear infection. You got to get the medication today. You're going to go to the retail pharmacy. But think about your longer-term meds, putting them on mail order. You can still go to the pharmacy if you choose. You just are going to have to call Express Scripts after the first 2 fills and say, I want to keep doing this at the retail pharmacy. We don't want you to be surprised, because if you go to get that, I think it's the 3rd fill, they're going to tell you, you're not covered, or they're going to put you on the phone with Express Scripts and say you need to make an active election to keep getting it at the retail pharmacy. Or can I help you through turning this over to mail order? Okay. So back to the flexible spending accounts. Again, we've mentioned the healthcare FSA. These are this is available to you if you're in the copay or the coinsurance plan. We have the IRS limits of $2,650. We're waiting to hear. Usually it's around the end of the month. We figure out if it's going to go up. It may go up $50, but we'll keep you informed of that as you're making your elections if you wanted to put the max in. And we also have a dependent care FSA, and again, that's the IRS limit of $5,000 pre-tax for eligible dependent care expenses. Yes, question? Really good question. So our plans are a bit different on how we do the FSA. So at DS, it's a calendar year, January to December. So you want to be thinking about what expenses do I have for January to December. We don't have a rollover feature on that. We really want to be thoughtful, because if you don't have expenses during that calendar year, you run the risk of losing the money. Your plan design today with EXA is different. So anything from 2019 is going to continue to follow the EXA rules, which could include some rollover. So when you're thinking about what you want to enroll in for 19, think about where am I with 18, and do I have rollover, and try to sort of coordinate the 2. So with us, there is a sort of a grace period, but that's just to file your claims. You have till March 31st of the next year to file your claims, but it has to be expenses you incurred in that calendar year. Another question? Yeah, so you're talking about, right, you can't have an FSA and an HSA at the same time. So I would say on this point, if you're thinking of going into the HSA and you have an FSA and you're kind of concerned about how that would work, that's a perfect thing. Log a ticket with people support and say, I have a question about this, and someone on the benefits team will get in touch with you and walk you through it. Time-wise. Okay. Okay, so I said I'd go in a little bit deeper about an HSA and this concept of a triple tax advantage. So this is, again, if you enroll in the health investment plan with the higher deductible, this is the limit somebody had asked me about earlier. So on the right-hand side of the slide, you see how much DS contributes and then how much you can contribute, because the IRS maximum is a combination of the two. And these are the new 2019 maximums. And if you're age 55 or older, you can put in an additional 1,000. So again, we talked about you and DS can make contributions to this account. You can change how much you want to put into the HSA during the year, unlike an FSA where you have to decide up front and you can only change it if you have a qualifying event. HSAs, you can change your amounts throughout the year. It gives you flexibility to think about how to maximize the tax advantage savings. You can then use the debit card we talked about earlier, and when the bill comes in, use your debit card to pay it. Some people have a strategy of, you know, I've got these bills, my cash flow is okay, I'm going to pay the bill up front, and I'm going to start building up this health savings account because maybe next year, I don't know, I'm going to have a skiing accident. I hope this doesn't happen, and I break a leg, and now I have this deductible I have to meet. I might want to take DS money from year one, maybe DS money from year two, put in a little bit of my own, and sort of build a nest egg up. So if myself or one of my family members have a heavier, you know, unfortunate year, I got a little nest egg built to pay for those expenses. So it's really, you know, you think about your 401k and you're thinking about a strategy for saving for retirement. This is a strategy about thinking about how to save for my healthcare costs today and in the future, and maybe even into retirement. Just think about when you retire, we all won't have this DS, you know, plan. We may have a Medicare plan, and maybe we want to buy a supplemental plan on top of that. That will cost money. You can actually use the money in this account to pay for healthcare expenses in retirement, as an example, or premiums that you might pay for healthcare coverage in the future. You can't use it today to pay for your premiums that you have through DS on your paycheck, but you put in retirement. Yes?
You have an action.
Yeah, okay, so the question is, if you were to pass away and you've got this HSA account, you assign beneficiaries, so just like a 401k plan or a life insurance, and the money would go to your beneficiaries. Okay, and I mentioned again, there's no forfeiture. This money is yours, it's always yours. Say you leave and you go to another company and they have a high deductible plan and they have an HSA account, you could move your money from the DS HSA into your new company's HSA, or you could have an HSA with a Fidelity or something like that. So I'm really just kind of scratching the surface on this. We have a guide on the website that has FAQs about the HSA because there are some ins and outs. You want to be really careful and make sure you really understand it all. I don't want to scare you either, but I don't want to oversell it either. So I encourage you, if you're thinking about this plan that might work for you, come to the Choosing Your Medical Plan webinar. You'll get more information there, and also seek out the guides that we have on rewards@cds.com. In the spirit of time, I'm going to keep going. So I think we can probably go through most of these pretty quickly because they're going to feel really familiar to you. So dental, still with Delta Dental, I think our costs on this are kind of comparable, and the coverage is very comparable. I think the DS plan has higher calendar maximum. We have 2,000, I think, instead of 1,500, so there's an increased benefit there, and the ortho lifetime maximum is higher. And ortho is not just for your children, but adults too. I just finished Invisalign, so I took advantage of this. And we also have this nice feature of rollover plan maximum. So we really encourage you to have your cleanings, at least one cleaning a year. And you have this feature that with the cleaning and claims of less than 800 in a plan year, you start to roll over. So again, sort of like I was saying with the health savings account, if you have a year where you have crowns and bridges and different things, you can squirrel away a little more out-of-pocket maximum in an upcoming year. Just by simply having your cleaning. So that's a new feature for you. Vision VSP, almost exact same plan design. I think here the DS rates are a little lower than what you're currently paying, And we have a bit of an increased benefit in terms of the frames allowance and the contact lenses. I think it's increasing from 130 to 150. And again, we've overridden VSP standard design because we wanted no copays in our spirit of wellness. So get your preventative visits with your doctor every year, get your dental cleanings every year, and get your eye exams every year, and you'll be in really good shape for staying healthy. So we wanted to remove all copays everywhere. Okay, so now moving into the income protection. This is with Lincoln Financial Group. They recently acquired Liberty Mutual, so you might see both names just to avoid any confusion. It's Lincoln/Liberty. I think, again, this should be good news. We have short-term disability at 100% of base pay for the first 7 weeks of disability, and then it drops to 66 and 2/3 after that for up to 13 weeks. There's no cost for any of this. It's all covered by the company. If you have a disability that goes beyond 13 weeks, you would transition to long-term disability, and that benefit is 66 and 2/3 of on-target earnings. I'll talk about that in a minute, up to $15,000 per month. And then the company has life insurance. This is where you'll experience some changes. The benefit is 1.5 times on-target earnings to a max of $1 million, and the same for AD&D. And again, that's fully company paid. You don't have to enroll in that. It's automatic. Today, your life insurance, I believe, is 2 times base salary. So depending, you might see some differences there. We do offer voluntary life insurance at really competitive rates. So when you log into the tool, if you're interested in purchasing additional coverage to make up any gaps, you'll see the rates right there. You can enroll for yourself. We ask you to really sort of think about it at open enrollment time, because you can do up to $250,000 without any evidence of insurability. That means no questions asked. If you enroll in up to $250,000, it's automatic coverage. Anything beyond that, you may have the evidence of insurability, where they'll come and take a blood exam or ask you blood test or ask you some questions, that kind of thing. Yes.
I just want to know what it is.
AD&D is accidental death and dismemberment. AD&D.
What's the difference from that?
Yeah, so this is the joke I was having with my husband. Make sure if I die, it's in an accident, because you'll get 1.5 times it's a double benefit. If you die in an accident, you get paid double.
Oh.
It's not you. You don't want to know the answer to this question. Your family members. Yeah, there's a double benefit for your family members. So I was going to say something else. Okay, on-target earnings. So DS, you probably maybe have heard this term. Some positions, employees, there's base salary, and then there's commissions or bonuses based on your role. So with an on-target earnings philosophy and approach, we have designed many of our benefits to benefit employees based on what I would say is a total comp approach. And that is something that will become clearer and will evolve to over time. So today you may just have a base salary. In the future, you may have a base salary and a bonus target. But we want to align our comp philosophy with our benefits philosophy. Okay, paid time off. Again, I think some good news. So we have 8 company holidays and 4 floating holidays for a total of 10. And I believe today you have 9 company holidays and 1. So that's a pickup of 2 days of paid time off. And we offer 10 sick days, which is an additional 5 days over what you have today. And sick days can be for your own or family members. Again, this is our culture of health. We know you're taking care of your own illnesses. You may also be taking care of children or parents. We have a fairly broad definition of families upon which you can use sick time to support them when they are ill. And we have an additional tier of vacation. So at 15 years or greater, you would move to 25 days per year. Carryover, it works the same way. It's up to 5 days, although there are some states that have different requirements. Today, California and Colorado. For the most part, you can carry up to 5 days of unused vacation year to year. Again, DS culture. We work in demanding jobs and industries and companies, and we really want people to take their time off. We don't want people holding it and hoarding it, and it's not our intent to say, okay, again, use it or lose it, sorry. It's really part of the culture. Work with your manager, schedule your vacation time and take them. At the same time, we know you may have a wedding planned or a trip, and you'd like to have that extra week carried over to the other year, or business conditions are such that it's tough to take it all by the end of the day. You have at least that flexibility of 1 week. Yes, question? Sorry, I couldn't hear a question. On the sick days, I mean, you just know. Yeah, I think you're asking me about, do you need a doctor's note for 6 days? And no, if you're sick, you call in, you tell your manager, you put it into our time tracking system when you return that you had a sick day that week. I think so. Back to the short-term disability, you know, if you're out for, I think it's 7 consecutive days, then that's going to be a trigger that you may have to go on to short-term disability. If you go on short-term disability, your sick days get put back into your bucket because now you're on a short-term disability. Oh, the floating holidays? We don't really, I'm hearing the term personal days. We don't really have personal days. Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah? Oh, no. No. Okay, I'm with you. Sorry. No. 6 days are 6 days for you or a family member when you're sick. Correct. Yeah. So no, if you don't use your 10 sick days, you can't use them for a personal day or a vacation day or something like that. It's a discrete, separate bucket of paid time off. Yes.
Here's a third calculation that the following year.
Colin will correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe your accrual increases on the date you hit the service milestone. So if my anniversary is March and I'm now 5 years with the company, I'll go up in March. And then that accrual, that higher accrual starts accruing and I earn the extra week over the course of the 12 months.
No carryover.
No carryover for sick leave. I mean, technically some states require you to do that. So the way we manage it is, you can never go above. Yeah, we only replenish your bucket each year to the degree that you took the year before. So you only ever have at most is 10 sick days. Yeah.
What are holidays? All of that in the same bucket of
Yeah, so the question is, you know, are floating holidays, I guess, sort of like vacation? I would say they are. I mean, the spirit of it is we have the kind of a minimum amount of company holidays. I would say, you know, we're a global company with so many locations across the U.S. So we're trying to keep our offices across the U.S. maybe closed at a minimum amount of time, you know, to be of service to our customers. But at the same time, we respect that there's other holidays, whether they're religious or cultural or geography, right? Around here, we love to take Patriots Day, right? We've got Marathon and Red Sox and that kind of thing. So the spirit of it is that you have these other 4 days that can be out of respect for other holidays you personally wish to observe, but the bottom line is they're vacation days. They do not carry over from year to year. So employee strategy generally is they take their floating holidays first, right? Take your floating holidays first. Think of it as 4 extra days of vacation. Okay? Yeah, another question? You good? Okay. What's the time? How are we doing? Okay, 9 minutes. Okay. And these are the exact holidays, so you can see those. Okay, we offer parental leave. So for the birth parents, in addition to what is provided through short-term disability, we provide 6 weeks of paid leave. I think that's a new benefit. However, for the non-birth parent, so most of you guys in the room, or if you're adopting, we provide 2 weeks, which I think is comparable to what you have today. No change there. Okay, let's get to the 401k because this is another area where there's absolutely some changes. So good news, we both use Fidelity. That is going to make this super simple. It'll literally be a transition of your accounts today at EXA into the DS plans. I won't get into a lot of the details because there'll be a dedicated session on 401k in December. So what you're going to be doing the next couple of weeks is enrolling in everything I've talked about before this, medical plan, dental, vision, a couple of voluntary benefits we're going to talk about later. You won't have access to the Fidelity system to set up how much you want to contribute under the DS plan until December. So early December, we'll have a full dedicated session on 401k. But it's going to be pretty simple. Our plan advisor, which I'll show you their names next, is already looking at all the EXA accounts. They're going to map them over to comparable funds in the DS plan. So that'll all happen for you, and your money will transfer over, I think, literally on January 1st. This is the really nice benefit of Fidelity to Fidelity, and they've had a lot of notice to prepare for this. So we expect that your money will transfer over. Yes, the question is, will the EXA 401k money automatically roll over into the DS accounts? And the answer is yes. And to be honest, you don't have a choice. This is a plan-to-plan transfer. It's the way it works under the IRS guidelines. So yeah, your money in EXA 401k rolls into the DS 401k. You won't have to. Correct. So the question is, like, do you have to do anything in terms of liquidating the funds you have today? And the answer is no. Fidelity will do all of that. So they'll liquidate the holdings you have today and then put them into the comparable fund within the DS plan. So we're mapping your funds into the DS funds, and there'll be a standard mapping that our 401k plan advisor will take you through in December. So from that standpoint, you don't have anything to do, but you don't have any choice either, I would say. Once the money's in, you can move it around to any of the funds that DS offers. We offer target date funds, which a lot of people like to participate in because it kind of does the work for you based on when you think you might retire. We give the freedom funds. We have the T. Rowe Price funds. I think you'll be pretty pleased with the fund lineup. We have a very active, robust steering committee that quarterly looks at the investments and makes sure they're performing up to standards. We work really hard to get the ratios down, and that's a really big benefit of joining a large company like DS because we have close to $1 billion in our 401k plan, so we're able to get on very preferred platforms and low expense ratios. So overall, should be a good message from the investment choice and cost standpoint. But where it's different is our plan works differently. So DS has, what I would say, is a bit more traditional design for a large technology company. It's matching 50 cents on the dollar up to 8%. So if you put in, we would encourage everybody to try to put in at least 8% because you're going to get the max company match, which is 4% of your question.
8% of what?
Well, this is the thing. So we base it on not only base salary, but bonuses and commissions too. So
Maximum?
that's not, well, the maximum is going to be what the IRS will allow you to put in. But yes, you'll get 8% of, if you put.
Your base plus the maximum variable, or it's on target?
No, it's whatever you get paid. So this pay, I'm a sales guy, this check comes along and I've got my base salary and I'm getting a commission check too that month. If I've set up to have 8% taken out of my pay for 401k, they're going to take 8% of my commission check and 8% of my base pay, and that's what's going to go into my 401k account. And then the company is going to put in half of that 8% as the company contribution, the company match.
So that'll be like. But I mean, because your variable portion doesn't get evaluated until the end of the year, is that right? Yeah, but some salespeople get paid more. But those who don't have commission, it will be 8% of base. Yeah,
it'll be base pay. Yeah, exactly. And then we have a different vesting schedule. So there's a 4-year vesting, 25% per year. Again, it's going to be based on your EXA service. So if everyone in the room has at least 4 years with EXA, this vesting schedule is not going to apply. So you're going to be 100% vested as soon as you start contributing to DS, and DS starts matching. You're 100% vested in the match. But your EXA service plus now your DS service adds together to see where you are in the vesting schedule. Questions on vesting? Yeah, so if you're 100% vested in your EXA matching 401k contributions, totally stays. They're completely separate. If you're still vesting in your EXA, that vesting schedule is going to continue to apply, but just on your EXA money. Yep. Yep. Nope. So the question is, if I don't have 2 full years of EXA yet service, and I've been contributing, you're going to hit your 2 years with DS more or less, right, after January 1, and that's when you'll get 100% vested on what you've contributed to EXA. So EXA contributions down, EXA vesting schedule, contributions with DS as of January 1, DS vesting schedule, based on your total seniority with both combined. Okay, clear, right? Okay, that's more to come on 401k. And this is who I mentioned. So we partner with Arthur J. Gallagher. This should be a nice added benefit for you. This is a free service that DS pays for all of its employees. Again, they advise us, the benefits team and the steering committee, to keep the plan performing well. but they are a free service to all of you. So we would encourage you, you'll get to meet the team when they orient you to what's going to be happening, but you can call them as many times as often throughout the year. Call, email, set up an appointment, say, hey, now I'm new to this DS plan, I don't quite understand these investments, can you give me some advice, walk me through it, and they'd be happy to do that. We encourage that because a lot of people we know, right, you invest all the time up front, you put your money in, and then you kind of forget about it, but life changes, right? The economy, the market is changing, and you should really be periodically reviewing your investment selection and then your mix. Okay. So I think I've talked about all of this already. So I'm going to skip. Okay, voluntary benefits. I mentioned you can purchase additional life and accidental death and dismemberment insurance. We also have a nice partnership with Hyatt Legal. They're a MetLife company. $9 per pay period. This is a post-tax deduction, but it is great if you're thinking of buying a home, you haven't done your wills. There's a lot of services that come. It's almost like having attorneys on retainer. You pay your $9 a month, and then there's a host of services that they will provide for you at no additional cost. More information on their website and our website if that's something you're interested in.
$9 per pay period, and you can turn it on and off anytime, or for the year?
No, it's for the year. When you enroll in open enrollment for the year,
You're locked in.
you're locked in. Yeah. So think of it as insurance. Maybe you're going to need some legal assistance, or it's planful because, like I said, you maybe know you're going to buy or sell a home. This makes an awful lot of sense. We also offer identity theft protection. You can enroll in this just for yourself or for the family. You can kind of see what's included there. It's credit monitoring. You'll get periodic emails. I don't like to tell my own stories, but I opened up a new credit card. I'm in InfoArmor. I got an email. There's been a credit card open in your name. You know, is this really you? Check. So they're constantly giving you alerts. Okay, wellness program. People know I'm very passionate about this. So we brought Vitality in as a partner. This is a kind of an online platform. There's no cost for you to register. It's a very kind of interactive plan that starts with you taking maybe a questionnaire. It tells you a little bit about, you know, what areas are you doing well, where areas are you not doing well, based on how much physical activity you have or how much sugar you have in your diet or how many vegetables you eat. And it kind of gives you a little bit of a roadmap of here's some areas where you might want to improve. And then you can engage within the platform to take nutrition courses, to set goals and track your progress. Do you want to sleep more? Do you want to exercise more? You can set goals. And everything that you do within the platform, you earn points for it. Points turn into bucks, and bucks you can go into the Vitality Mall. You can buy gift cards to iTunes, Amazon. You can donate it to charity. You can buy things on the mall like fitness devices. And I mean, we have stories of employees that, you know, they rack up their points for the whole year and then they buy a Amazon gift card at the end of the year and they're buying Christmas presents for their family. And I mean, these can be some big bucks. I mean, one employee told me he's got $750 each year of the last 3 years of the program, really actively engaged in it. The way people really engage and get a fair amount of their points is by wearing some kind of fitness tracker. If you have that on and you're getting 5,000 steps a day, you're earning 5 points. 10,000 steps a day, 10 points. 15,000 steps a day, 15 points. That's the max. So, I mean, people are just wearing their fitness devices. You walk around the Waltham campus or other buildings and you're going to see a lot of people. Mine is not here because it's charging back in the Waltham office, and I'm so mad because I'm going to lose my points from yesterday and today. But anyway, so because of some kind of fitness device is a really key element of the program, we offer a $60 device subsidy. So this is going to be available to you in January. Again, we'll do a dedicated, probably hour-long webinar to really walk you through Vitality and how to engage in it fully. But be thinking about this. If you don't have a device, the $60, as soon as you take the Vitality Health Review, which is that online questionnaire, you'll be eligible for the $60 device subsidy, which will fully get you either Fitbit Zip, which is that little one that you can clip on, or the Fitbit Flex 2, which is more of a thin band, and you're good to go. Or you can buy something more sophisticated. There's Garmin, there's Polar, there's other Fitbits, and you can put the $60 towards that. So just be thinking about that, or ask for one for Christmas. Maybe if you're thinking about the holidays. Yes, question? Apple Watch. So the question is, yeah, Apple Watch is compatible with Vitality. You can use Apple Watch. You can use your phone through the Apple Health. So you don't necessarily have to have a traditional, you know, device. There's other ways to link into the program. No. No, the $60 is not going to get you an Apple Watch. But my big public service announcement is we're looking for champs. We have some phenomenal locations. Johnston, Rhode Island is a really good example of one. They have a very active champ community. They run challenges every quarter. So if any of you, this is your passion, you know, you'd really be excited to work with us, let us know. We'd love to have you come on as champs. Champs meet once a month. We share ideas. But in addition to the local challenges that happen at all of the sites, we do 4 challenges a year across the whole U.S. and they're so fun. I don't know, we just walked like 2 million steps or something like that. And, you know, it's just kind of fun. There's prizes and points and a lot of team spirit and camaraderie. Challenges, we tend to do, in terms of challenges, seriously, because you're going to get me going, because I'm really passionate about this. We just did a steps challenge. So that was just whoever walked the most steps. We had 3 or 4 people walk over 1 million steps in 4 weeks. But we try to do some team stuff, but we also do some individuals to find different ways for people to participate. We do just a plain old workout challenge. So some people don't do a lot of steps. They're in the gym, so you could get points for your workouts. We do a challenge based on, usually the VHR is the one we do at the beginning of the year because we want to remind people, take your vitality health review, see how you're doing compared to last year and where you want to focus your energy. So usually first quarter is do your vitality health review and get points for that. But we will launch a special challenge for all of you, details to come, but we really want to get you engaged. So we're going to run a registration challenge and we'll set a target of, 65%. So if we get 65% of all the EXA employees in the US to register, you'll all get, a couple hundred points or something like that. So we'll try to onboard you with your own challenge at the very beginning. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. The question is, some companies tend to sometimes tie participation in a wellness program to lower premiums. We do not have that. We do not have, or smoker, non-smoker premiums. Either way, yeah, we don't have that built in. That was part of it because our premiums are pretty low already. So they're pretty competitive. So we don't have that. So we're more the other way. If you quit smoking, for instance, you can earn points in Vitality. If you take a smoking cessation class, you'll earn points. So we try to reward people that way. Where are we? Yeah. And we're done, right? Okay.
Yeah, some of these other benefits, but I'd like to get into the employment agreement, all that.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So really quick, we have
another 4 or 5 minutes on this.
Yeah.
Okay. Next 4 or 5.
Stop me if I go. Thank you. Okay, KGA is our employee assistance program. Again, no cost. You get free consulting or counseling sessions. Really rich, robust website, lots of services. You can also get simple wills from them at no cost. There's some tax advice. So check EAP out if you're ever looking for any kind of service first and see what's available there. This is a benefit that really differentiates us, I believe. It's called Best Doctors. Again, fully paid by the company. If you get some kind of medical diagnosis, you're a family member, you're just like, okay, they're talking, this sounds pretty intense, pretty heavy. Do I really need all of this? You want to talk to Best Doctors. They'll give you a free second opinion. You don't have to get tests and everything done all over again. They'll gather all of your medical records and they'll put it through their board of experts, and our employees say this is a lifesaver. Because either way, either they get confirmation that what their doctor is saying is the right approach, or the best doctors will come back and say, talk to your doctor about this. We think this course of action could be an alternative. And I've heard both stories, employees coming back saying, my 6-month-old, they were talking open heart surgery, and instead Best Doctors talked about this, and we did this approach. I mean, really, I get chills. If you go on our website, there's video testimonials with employees talking about how Best Doctors has had an impact on their life. It's free. Yep. It's free. Commuter benefit you have today, this is through WageWorks. If any of you are using public transportation, you'll be able to transition your pre-tax commuter benefit over to, or start one rather, with our new provider. Yep. Any questions on the commuter benefit? And so this is, again, it's a way for you to put money aside on a pre-tax basis to pay for eligible commuting expenses. You can also put in additional money on a post-tax basis so that you have a card that can actually buy your commuter pass for the month, for instance. Taxis, that's an example of, oh, is Uber. I don't think Uber is eligible. No, it's got to be, well, it also, first of all, it has to be to commute for work, so it can't be personal travel. You can only use your pre-tax money for work commuting expenses, but yeah, I don't believe an Uber would be eligible. Okay, PerkSpot, you can go on this now and register. This is, our employees save tens of thousands of dollars by going on PerkSpot and seeking out different discount programs for movie passes, vacations, all kinds of stuff. And then we have a tuition reimbursement similar to what you have today. The IRS limit up to $5,250 because it can be tax-free for degree programs. We also have a 3S University, and you can take seminars in partnership with your manager if you're not able to fulfill your career development through either a traditional degree program or something through the university. Okay, this is the main place you're going to spend a lot of time. This is rewards at at3ds.com. If you haven't been out to this website, we have a dedicated See Welcome EXA. That's where you can click and get specific information for you. Your newsletter will record the recording of this presentation, other presentations that will be specific to all of you as you join our benefits. But there's just a wealth of other information there. This is how you log in with ADP. Again, you maybe have ADP for payroll now. This is a different ADP. Nothing will transfer. But you'll be able to go in and register on this website. Here's all the directions on how to do it. We'll make this presentation available, by the way, on the website, so you don't have to write all this down right now. You can also enroll by calling the DS Benefits Center, which is an ADP service that we partner with them on. Beneficiaries, I cannot stress enough. Please, 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 once you get into the system, make sure as you're enrolling in your benefits, you select your beneficiaries. You got to go to a couple places, so largely ADP for the life, AD&D, et cetera. If you enroll in the health investment plan with the HSA, that's through Health Equity. Back to this gentleman's question, put in your beneficiaries for your HSA accounts, and then I think your beneficiaries from Fidelity are going to roll over, but just double check them. They should roll over. And just check them to make sure they're right. You know, if life changes, you make sure your beneficiaries are up to date. This is something we harp on every year to remind people. Okay, payroll. So really good news here. Both companies use ADP. We're on the same biweekly pay cycle. The only thing, good news, you're going to get paid a day earlier. CS pays on Thursday instead of Friday. So very low impact, if any impact, on the payroll transition. All of your direct deposit, tax withholdings, everything that you have with EXA will transfer over to the DS payroll. So it's only if you want to make any changes and they somehow coincide with your first payroll on January 1st that you'll want to get in touch with DS payroll to make those changes. But there is also going to be a new time tracking system, but our payroll team tells us it really doesn't make sense to train you until you have access to it. You really won't have access to it until you get your first paycheck. So the payroll team will come out in early January and teach you about the time tracking system and getting you all logged in. We're on an exception basis, so if you're in an exempt role, you would only track time if you take it off. So you'd track that floating holiday or that sick day or that vacation day. If you're in a non-exempt role, of course, you'd be tracking your hours each pay period. Okay. So with, yes, sorry, question. Yes, correct. So your direct deposits will automatically transfer over. Yep. So 401k deductions will not transfer over. So you will have to elect in the DS 401k plan what you would like to have come out. That's why we want to do that in December, so you have time and it will take effect for that first payroll in January. Yeah, so that is the one thing you will have to reset. Another question?
Not the open enrollment period in October, November?
Yeah, it's different. I mean, honestly, we're asking, there's a lot going on, so our strategy really is to get you onboarded to the healthcare healthcare benefits. We'll take on 401k early December, and then you'll be fully ready for January, which then we'll talk about the wellness program in January. So that's kind of the 3 phases. Okay, so with all of this, there are standard employment documents that all EXA employees will be signing. You'll receive a legal entity transfer letter first. That will come. This is all around the week of November 5th. They're all due back by November 30th, and you'll be receiving emails. We do it all electronically through a DocuSign application, so nothing for you to print out and sign, and David has to chase hundreds of these. none of that. In addition to the transfer letter, there's several DS policies, confidentiality, et cetera. You can see them here. It does include non-compete. That will be based on the state that you're in, the state laws, and maybe based on many of you being in Massachusetts, you've probably heard in the news that the legislators changed how non-competes can work in the state of Massachusetts. So starting October 1st, DS has adopted no non-competes for the Massachusetts-based employees. So, non-solicitation is about you seeking people,
Yeah,
right?
so if you leave the organization, you can intentionally go and, recruit somebody out of the organization if you're a new employer.
Yeah, it's usually a one-year period.
It's a 1 year period, yeah.
Yeah. Right, for Massachusetts employees. Same as California. New legislation. So based on the legislation, companies have different ways that they want to adopt it for new hires after October 1st. And DS made the decision to remove the non-compete for Massachusetts employees in light of the new legislation and some of the requirements around that.
And to be clear, for people in California, the same thing applies there.
Yeah, California has, yeah.
For the people in
Unfortunately, for people in any other state, they're going to have a non-compete.
Yeah. Yeah, we very much follow the state guidelines, state legislation with regard to that. Okay, and you'll have access to the employee handbook. The link will be right there in your transfer letter, and that's really guiding all of our sort of employment policies and practices across the U.S. And that refreshes, so you're going to get the link for 2018, a transfer letter, and usually January, February, we refresh it. So you'll see another one for 2019. I think we're almost there. So I think this is the timeline. So we're here doing our open enrollment information. I do want to point out for those in the Massachusetts area, we do have a fair on the Waltham campus this Thursday, November 1st from 11 to 2. Basically, we bring all the vendors on site. They're available for you to talk to directly if you have any questions. They have all kinds of literature. They have raffles. They have handouts. It's just kind of a fun time to come on the campus if you're in the area and can make it. And there will be seated chair massages, and there will be an online registration, so there's some incentive to also come over, take a break, and have a seated chair massage. Everything that we're doing now is to really prepare you over the next couple of weeks. The enrollment system won't open until October 29th. Okay? So that's, even though we've given you the login information, you actually can't go in and enroll until the 29th, and then it's open for 2 weeks. The documents, again, are due back November 30th, 401k early December. ID cards start arriving. That's really why we'd like you to enroll within the 2 weeks so you can get your ID cards by January 1st for you and your family members, and benefits start on January 1st. What did I miss, Dan, Colin? Thanks, that was a lot.
I mean, I could summarize some of this too. But it's coming fast. You've covered everything.
Okay. I will let you in on one secret. Just don't tell the other 3,000 U.S. employees. Again, we really try to manage it within that 2 week time. We recognize that you're going through a lot to absorb. If for some reason on November 9th, you haven't got it all figured out, there'll be some flexibility, but we really would encourage you to focus and take the time now to figure out what you want to enroll in. Or suddenly you wake up on November 30th and say, oh my gosh, I didn't put anything in an FSA. I forgot I need to do that. We'll work with you, but try to do it within the 2 weeks, but appreciate, like I said, we know you're going through a lot, and there's a lot to think through the first time fully changing your benefits. So we can be flexible as well with the timeline. Just risks you not getting your cards on time, and that's not great when you end up in your, being a doctor's visit on January 2nd. And same thing back on the prescriptions. I'll just give you one other piece of information. Definitely fill up your prescriptions if you don't want to be running low and have that extra stress around the holidays either. So we always encourage people, if you're on meds, get them filled up now. Sorry? Yeah. True, yeah, he's saying about prescriptions. You can only do it so far in advance. Yeah, fair. Any other questions? Yes. No. Yeah, I think our plan is to post the presentation on the rewards@3ds.com and just click on that EXA welcome, and I think it's going to be posted there. And we're also recording, so there will be a recording posted too. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so if you're getting your, say you're taking whatever, blood pressure pills every month, right? It's ongoing. You can continue to get them at CVS every month. You can go and get your prescriptions filled there. You tell them I need a refill, fine. But after the second month, when you go, they're probably going to say, you've got something in your plan, I can't fill it. You haven't actively elected to keep getting your prescriptions at CVS. So they will call Express Scripts, they'll put you on the phone, or you get on the phone with Express Scripts and you say, I want to keep getting this medication at the pharmacy, and then they'll say, okay. I think though every year, they're going to ask you again, hey, can we interest you in moving on to the mail order? You continue to go, you're the one going to the pharmacy 12 times a year, right? Can we make this easier for you by putting you on mail order? You'll save money, you'll save time, it's free shipping, blah, blah, blah. So you make that call and it'll buy you, you know, up to maybe the next year, and then you'll be invited again to switch to mail order. Yeah, on the phone. Yeah. Okay. Any questions on the phone, Colin? Have you been answering them as we've been going, or anything that you want to?
I have been primarily answering them over the phone. I did want to bring up one item, and Maureen, if you could flip back to the health savings account, just so that I make sure that that's clear for everyone. The question came in is, do you have to, if you sign up for the health investment plan, you're enrolled in the HSA, are you automatically then contributing those contributions to that HSA, the $2,750 or the $5,500? And the answer is no. That's the maximum amount that you can contribute. So you're not forced to contribute that amount. That's just the maximum amount of pre-tax dollars you can add to your account.
Yeah.
Other than that, the questions I've answered, and they were mostly individual questions.
Okay, great. We've got a couple more in the room. Yeah.
For the Delta plan,
yeah.
I know that they were do those same terms carry over, or are you basically starting at zero?
Yeah, so that's a calendar year maximum and a calendar year deductible. So I think to your question of, do things carry over year to year on the dental plan?
I thought like if you got a crown, you're allowed one crown per person at full benefit. And then that was just one example. So first you were with EXA for 3 years, and then year 4 was 2 years eligible for another full benefit. But I'm not sure if that's true for.
Oh, okay. Colin, I don't know if you can help on this one. So some plans have a limit to like how many crowns you can get over a certain period of time. I mean, for sure, any past EXA starts fresh. We won't get your claims. We don't know what you've done in the past. We don't want to know, so it'll just start fresh. But I don't know if our plan design has those kind of limits. To tell you the truth.
Yeah, I'm not aware of that either. I've never everybody having.
Yeah. Okay, Colin, on the orthodont, I think the answer is it starts over. Correct? No. Hold on. No. On orthodonture, no. So on orthodonture, it won't start over. Delta Dental will look at where you are in the treatment so far, but you will have the possibility of getting the extra 500 benefit through DS. So there is some coordination, because I think your max on orthodontia is 1,500 today, I think. I don't know. This is higher. I know that. Whatever it is, it's higher.
Okay, so you can get that.
Yeah, there'll definitely be some coordination on the ortho, right, Colin? Between
yes.
Delta and yeah. You won't lose out, and you likely would pick up because you'll have a higher max.
All right. Yeah, the other question.
What happens to that?
You're buying it.
Yeah, okay, so the question is, what happens with my EXA supplemental? I mean, normally that would stop on December 31st, and you would enroll in new coverage with DS. To be honest, we have to check. Sometimes there's some port flexibility or conversion with your current carrier when the plan is ending, we'll maybe take a to-do on that. If for some reason it could be attractive for you to continue the coverage that you have on your own, but the rates tend to go up when you take a group plan and convert it to individual coverage. So you probably find the DS rates are more attractive. Yeah, we don't have a critical illness coverage in our lineup, actually. So yeah, if you have that with EXA, that will stop at that point in December. Yes. Yes. So DS does have a cell phone policy. It's not part of what we're discussing today. I think that'll be probably a follow-up question.
What if the cost less than $10?
No. Actually, we get that question, right? Colin, the answer is no. If the actual cost of the medication is less than $10, you won't pay the $10. You'll pay the cost of the medication.
That is correct.
Yes, another question.
Are the co-pays prorated? I mean, this says for 30-day supply, you have a week. Of course, antibiotics, is the copay prorated, or is it?
No, I don't think it's prorated. I think you would run into the same issue if the cost of the medication, you'll never pay more than $10 and you may pay less, regardless of whether it's 7 days of dosage or 30 days. Yeah, you mean like if you're just going in to get something for one time?
Supply 10, I was wondering if it's a 7-day supply.
No. Good question. No prorating. It's a good group. Colin, do we have a date for the webinar on choosing the health plan? I think we do.
It's December 2nd at, let me check.
November 2nd?
Yes, I'm sorry, November 2nd at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And we'll plan on sending that invite out to the EXA employees, I think, on Tuesday or Wednesday of this next week.
Yep. This is a webinar we're doing for all U.S. employees, so not. EXA, we've got Magic employees joining benefits as well, and that's going to be everybody. No cost for the wellness program. No, DS pays the per month cost for you to be in the plan, and then all the rewards. Not only do we then reward you, but that's a taxable event. We pay the taxes on it. So wellness program is completely free. The transfer letter talks a lot about benefits. You know, it says you're coming on to benefits. It's going to verify. So the question is, what's in the transfer letter? It will verify your vacation accrual based on your seniority. It talks about the documents that you're signing. I think those are not really a whole lot there.
It's very similar to if you were to just get an offer letter. That spells out the terms and conditions.
Another question, yes.
Our years of service with that. 3 years.
Yes. Years of service with EXA carry over to DS. So that'll benefit you from a vacation accrual standpoint. It benefits from a 401k vesting. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yep. We'll be taking your remaining balance as of December 31st with EXA up to 5 days, and that will be pre-populated in your DS vacation balance at the start of the year. Yeah, I can't guarantee you're going to see it exactly on that January 3rd payroll, so don't be nervous if you don't see it. It may take a pay period, yeah, to get in.
So you see your vacation balance in your paycheck?
Not on the stub. Well, we're all, it's all electronic, so.
So think of it like Tribe HR. So it's a time tracking system that allows you to go in and book time, see how much time you've taken, what's approved, what's not approved. Vacation, sick time, you know, it gives you the option.
The time tracking is an ADP product that integrates with the payroll system, which is ADP. It's called eTime, if you've ever used it before. Yes, another question. I was thinking about that question. I mean, you won't see it as you log in as DS. You're just going to see your DS pay history. I guess let's get an answer from ADP on how long those accounts and your history will be available. Oh, good question.
Yeah,
so,
you have to remember your login. So that's happened when people track their login. Correct. Previous ones, right? I think so. So just remember when we go to DS, just remember your actual login.
Yeah.
Are you saying you do your previous job as a professional? Oh, even with your actual.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So will I be, if I've worked for other companies with ADP payroll, will I be able to see that under the DS one? I'll have to ask. I know on Fidelity, for instance, you will see, if you still have a 401k from a former company sitting at Fidelity, now you're going to see in Fidelity, EXA, DS, and the other companies, and it'll all be on one landing page. I don't, we'll check if our ADP works similar to how Fidelity works. I don't know. That'd be convenient, though. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good question. More questions, yes.
What was the transfer letter? The reason I asked is I saw in a previous webinar they said that
Okay, so the question is about what will I see on my transfer letter with regard to compensation. I think the transfer letter will just confirm your current base salary on a biweekly basis. The question about how EXA employees will transition into the full on-target earnings concept and formal variable pay and bonus will be addressed, and we'll have more information for you as we go. But DS does annual increases once a year. They're effective April 1st. And so that's the time when we are really looking at compensation. So changes would likely come through that process. Variable changes to your fixed pay are effective April 1st. That'll be a little earlier than your increases have been taking effect. And then any variable pay targets that are added to the annual compensation review process would take effect on January 1st for the whole year. And then there'd be associated education sessions about how that variable pay would work, whether you're in a sales or a non-sales role. So more to come on that. And a lot of things, honestly, you probably.
No, I was going to say, just to clarify that,
yeah.
And to help us out, in April though, you get a statement, right? And that, if you want to continue, I'll try to do my best.
Okay, I'll help.
In April, you'll get a statement that tells you your comp, this is your base, your variable, and other aspects of your profile. So that's when you'll see what your on-target earnings is.
Yeah. Yes.
open enrollment all done online through
Open enrollment is all done online through this ADP system. You have the option of calling them if you want to do it over the phone. Most people do it online because you get to actually see the cost of everything, and you get to see a confirmation statement at the end of exactly what you enrolled in. It's especially helpful if you're thinking about some of the optional benefits or optional life, because you can, some of it's age-based, so you can see, and it's smoker, non-smoker based on the life insurance system. No, maybe it's not. But anyway, you can see what all the rates are. I encourage you to do it online. Yes?
What is the 3DS contribution?
Yep, that's the $750 if you enroll in individual coverage. And the question is about, thank you, David, keeping me honest. The HSA, yeah. So again, if you enroll in that, wrong way. It's $750. There it is. $750 for individual coverage. DS contributes to the HSA, and then $1,500 if you enroll in family. Yeah, it's deposited in your account. You can decide to contribute nothing. And again, this is strategy a little bit. Some people say, I'm just going to have the DS money go in, right? And I think that DS money maybe is going to be enough to cover my out-of-pocket healthcare expenses for that year. Most people who go into this are contributing themselves. They might be people who are already maxing out on the 401k plan every year, and they're looking for more pre-tax savings. Because think about this as you're saving for healthcare expenses in the future, not just what I might incur this year. So they've got their 401k account going, that's saving for retirement in the future, and then they've got their HSA going, and that's maybe saving for healthcare expenses in the future. But like I said, the nice thing about the HSA is you can change how much you put in. So all of a sudden, you said, I didn't want to contribute anything, and now suddenly you had back surgery. You know, if you're on the health investment plan, now you're going to be subject to the deductible and co-insurance, and you'd like to get some tax-free money to pay for that, you can now put more money in. You can change your contribution. Say, I want to put more in. Because you definitely would prefer to pay the bills with tax-free money versus after-tax money. Yeah.
This might go away. This year I changed and next year, the open enrollment, I switched to that money.
No. So if you enroll in the health investment plan 1 year and then you enroll in the copay plan the next year, your money will still sit in the HSA. You can't make any more contributions to it because you're no longer in a high deductible health plan, but it's there and you can still use it. Yes. Yeah, we use Health Equity to manage the HSA accounts. That is Blue Cross Blue Shield's preferred provider. So there's claims are fed over, and there's a nice, rich website for you to go in and track your expenses and pay bills and that kind of thing. But the vendor's Health Equity.
And I can use that only for self expenses.
Yeah, it's only for.
What if they are inherited?
Yes, I think the question is, what kind of expenses can I use for the funds that are in my health savings account? It's eligible expenses for the IRS guidelines. It's the same list of accounts, same list of expenses that are eligible under an FSA.
And when it's inherited, it's still the same situation. If I passed away, and
yes.
my wife inherited that. You said that.
Yes, yeah, right, yes. If you pass away.
She still can use that only for the same.
Medical or she can do that?
She can.
So, sorry,
maybe we
there's
should
a lot
stop.
of noise,
Yeah.
and we still have people on the phone. So,
good time to stop.
Yeah, this is a good time to stop.
And I'll be around to take some individual questions.
Yeah, so I apologize. But thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. Hopefully it was helpful.
Good.